ladies and gentlemen.
We back. We better than ever. We got some real conversations this weekend. It's going to be an absolute blast. I'm skidding with my guy in downtown Chicago. Rob, talk to me. What's the situation tonight? What's popping?
Man, tired. That's what's popping. Putting in this work in, man, but the job wasn't done. We had to go to Mars real quick. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. But man, we got a lot of stuff going on. Next week's going to be absolutely insane with the Super Bowl. We got so many different things, so many different agendas, from Taylor Swift to Travis Kelce to Brock So Purdy. I mean, Brock Game So Purdy. Rob's got
Brock my game So Purdy. Yeah, Lord Jesus.
We got George Kittle, who's back with a vengeance. That video is recirculating. I saved that video back in 2019 when it first happened. He said, I will be back here. You will not get the best of me. And he gets the matchup he's been waiting 4 years for, which is actually insane that the matchup is actually against the Chiefs. For that to happen 4 years later, for both teams to still be at the pinnacle of what they're trying to do, just shows the success and the greatness of both organizations. But even more so, what a great story to tell. But Rob, before any of that, let's get into what led up to this.
Yo.
Talk to me. Ravens, Chiefs, and then obviously the 49ers banging one in. Talk to me about it.
That was unexpected. Now, we know that the Chiefs went in as underdogs versus the Ravens, even though the Chiefs have owned the Ravens in the past, but everybody thought this was supposed to be a new Lamar. And for the most part of the season, he played like it. But when them lights got bright, I mean, I joked with Greg about this on his show, Red Kingdom. Shout out to Red Kingdom, and congratulations to him because he's been riding with the Chiefs all year, as you know, Greg.
Yep.
But I joked with him and said, when have you ever known the Chiefs to win games by using their run game and their defense? Like, that's their strong point of their team. The offense has been okay, but it's ironic that we talk about their receivers being, having the most drop passes, yet Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 2 weeks in a row, walk-off catches for 40 first downs to run the clock and ice the game.
Right.
I mean, this Chiefs team, we talked about this the last episode. Win is win, right?
Win is win.
Win is win. Everybody keeps saying they're tired of seeing Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. They tired of seeing them in the AFC Championship game. All I say is beat them. You had the same situations with Tom Brady. We had the same situations with Golden State. People hate to see winners. And it's just unfortunate for Lamar because he's going to get MVP of the regular season. But, you expect him to be able to get more than 10 points, especially when your defense just, goes crazy in the second half and really limits the Chiefs scoring. Like, you expected Lamar to be able to pull off some magic in. For some reason, I don't know if it was the play calling or what, but they got away from the one thing that they're known for in their identity, and that's the run game. They did not run the ball at all. I think Lamar Jackson had 54 yards, and Gus Edwards had 20.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like he didn't really get any attempts in the second half. Like, what were we thinking here? Like they could have did what the 49ers did, which we're gonna talk about in a second. 49ers down 24-7. And then they go ahead and pound the ball with McCaffrey and get the job done. Like I just don't know what the Ravens were doing, man.
No, yeah, I mean, and to that point, you talk about Lamar and Gus not having a lot of success on the day, but in those small sample sizes, they were getting it done. When they did run the ball, they were going for 10 plus yards every single time. So why they got away from that when they were having so much success when they did do it was really beyond me. And I was very vocal all year long about who Snead is. Snead for this Kansas City Chiefs defense is an all-pro corner. He is locked down. Obviously, Ty Flowers, he had a great day, had a bad day. It was kind of a mix of both, and that's kind of what you're going to expect from a rookie on this stage. He showed you how great he can be, but he also showed you that sometimes the moment just stuff happens, and I love that he didn't allow that to engulf him, and he said, "I'm gonna make this right. I'm gonna get better because of this." So that was
he did. He had two key mistakes. When he had the penalty with the taunting, when he pushed him back he pushed Snead back on the ground, and that kind of woke Snead up, and I think Snead was on the plane when he fumbled, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's right.
You talking about a guy, Snead already had highlights during these playoffs with the defense he played on Tyreek Hill. This is supposed to be Tyreek Hill, homecoming, so to speak, going back to playing Kansas City. And just how that defense dominated that Miami offense. We're talking about one of the highest score offenses during the regular season. So that Chiefs defense is real, led by Chris Johnson. They got penetration on Lamar Jackson all day, and you can tell, pause on that. You can tell too that they had a dedicated QB spot. Like your job is to not worry about what's going on in the game. Well, Lamar goes, you go. Right, and that's exactly how they play Lamar, man. Kansas and Pat Mahomes, man. What more can you say about Patrick?
And to that, I want to also give some love to our guy Travis because
of course, Pastor Jerry Rice. Yes,
yeah, not even that. I mean, really just talking about what it was all season long, saying that he could potentially retire at the end of the year. He had a down year. He's showing he's aging and he's showing that he's not that guy anymore. And I think not that any of us said that up here, but, we've had those conversations. I sat up here with Tony about a month or two ago, and he asked me a legitimate question. Could both Kelce brothers retire in the same year? Just because that's really been an agenda for so many social medias. And it's unfortunate, that we have those conversations because, we know at the end of the day who these guys are when the lights are the brightest. So I think it's unfortunate. I think it's one of those things where, we're going to have to continue to hear this every single year. And, everyone's always going to say this is the year the Chiefs are going to have the downfall. This is the year that the Chiefs are going to fall apart. But, man, it never really feels that way for you. I know you follow Tom Brady's career very closely. He's one of your favorite players of this era. Where are you at with the comparison of the dynasty of the New England Patriots and then obviously the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, of course, the Chiefs. The obvious answer is they have to win more, but it's been amazing. Like, Pat Mahomes, 6 starts in his NFL career, and 6 times he's been to the AFC champion, at least the AFC championship game. This is going to be his 3rd time getting to the Super Bowl. So no, 4th time. I'm sorry, because he's 2-1.
Right.
Yeah.
Who did he lose to, Rob?
He lost to the Niners, baby. No, I mean he lost to the GOAT. I'm sorry. Forgot they beat the Niners and then he lost to the GOAT.
Yes, sir.
Oh, GOAT Brady. And Tampa Bay at that.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to him in Tampa Bay at that. And that's when Brady made probably, and this is another thing too. When people keep talking about the comparison with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. When Brady beat Mahomes, he had went through one of the greatest stretches that a quarterback could go through. We're talking about beating a young upstart Washington Commanders defense led by Chase Young, who at that point was at the peak of his athletic prowess. Then we're talking about going on to beat Aaron Rodgers in the next game you know, I think when they were at Aaron Rodgers had home field advantage. I
Yep.
want to say, and he
He always
beat Aaron
does.
Rodgers in Green Bay to go on to beat Drew Brees, somebody who had pretty much put the feats on them twice in the regular season. He beats Drew Brees, send him into retirement, and then go on to beat the young upcoming GOAT and Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You want to talk about a hell of a run
Yeah.
as a quarterback. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still riding with Tom Brady and that New England dynasty.
No,
That's tough to
without a
beat.
doubt, without a doubt, and that was really the big one there. John, how we feeling, brother? Happy to see you in here, man. Happy
What's
to see
going?
you.
He talking
The
about one of
best.
my shots. Salute.
But with that being said, man, before we move on to the 49ers
Niner game.
and the Detroit Lions, because we got to show some love to Dan Campbell, I want to say one thing because motherfuckers testing me all year long, talking about my man, talking about my dog, talking about Swifties, talking about T-Town, talking about Taylor Swift, and he's soft now. She changed him. It's the Taylor Swift curse. Baby, you know at the end of the day, when it comes to January and February football, no matter what.
You gotta fight for your right to party!
It gets better every year, baby. Every year. Hey, Rob, let's run it. Back to back.
You gotta fight for your right to party! You gotta fight for your right to party!
I'm going to do it every year. New clip. Every January. You can bank on it. Death, taxes, and Travis Kelce in the motherfucking Super Bowl. And if you got a problem with it, cry to your mama. Not with me. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's talk about the 49ers, though, man. Rob Scott, $2 million a ticket to the Super Bowl for a suite.
You ready?
Christian McCaffrey's mama said, Christian can't afford that. Price is getting too crazy. What do you think?
He can afford it.
I think he could.
He can afford it.
A smart woman. That's an investor right there, though.
That's all. You know. Why pay it? They're going to be there anyway.
Why pay it? You know what I mean? I'll see you after the game. But no, man. I mean, listen. We talked about it all year long. Dan Campbell's a guy who gambles. Period.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that you love him. You want to win for him. You want to play for him. And shout out to the Lions for being able to keep Ben Johnson another year. That is critical. That is going to be huge for them after the success they had, him being one of the best offensive coordinators in the game right now, best young offensive coordinators. But with that, man, you know, understanding that, hey, listen, Ben's back. They're going to be able to run it back. So despite the amazing season they had and the potential of the 2024-2025 season, Rob, we have to address what happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell risks it for the biscuit several times going for it on fourth down, not taking the points, and it came back to bite him. Yeah, you said it, 24-7, they're up. Dan could have kept running up the board. He could have kept taking some field goals, but he kept trying to punch in the ticket to the first ever Detroit Lions Super Bowl. And I saw Eminem in the stands flipping off the fans. It was crazy. He was having a ball. Detroit was having a ball, Rob. Where are you at right now as it pertains to Dan Campbell's game plan? Because this has been Dan Campbell since he came into the league as an NFL head coach. This wasn't new. We know this is a guy who's willing to risk it all. He's willing to bet on himself and his guys. Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what got him to the dance.
Right.
And you know, I assume as a coach, you're not going to go away from who you are at that time. Like me going, competing in a championship game is not going to be when I all of a sudden had this epiphany to say, oh, I'm going to do differently from what I did to get here. You know what I mean? Yeah, was it smart in hindsight? No, but let's say he gets that fourth down. You put pressure on San Francisco now. Now it's different. Now you make them kind of panic, and you make them. I think the thing with the Niners Lions game, San Francisco in that game to me never looked like they were shook.
Right.
Like even when they're down 24-7, to me, and this just from games I've seen from the Niners, I didn't get that sense of, oh snap, like
Right.
it's time to panic. Like I'm like,
you remember
we're still in this game.
You remember earlier in the year, not earlier in the year, just I guess technically earlier in the year was the beginning of January, against the Ravens. Like when I saw Sam Darnold come into the game, I said, okay, we're packing our bags. You know,
right.
Like, you saw the mentality of everybody on the field, like, yeah, they got us. They got us. You saw it on Brock. You saw it on everybody else's face. You know, everybody was like, all right, we're going to regroup. We're going to come back. Let's just finish this off. But I never once saw that from a Christian McCaffrey, from a George Kittle, from a Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock even went after the game. You know, I saw Nick Bosa asking him, hey, man, did you know you were going to be this good? He said, to be honest with you, I could be better. And I love that. Yeah. He said, right now I could be better. I could continue to be better. So I love that. You know, we saw a lot of greatness from Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and the San Francisco 49ers. We saw Brock Purdy actually extend plays with his legs and with his arm. You know, we have Cam Newton doubling down saying, yeah, man, I didn't say he was garbage. I just said he's not a difference maker.
He's a game manager. But, I mean,
but listen, Rob,
Brock Purdy hasn't shown that he's a game changer.
But when you see him extend the play for 25 yards with his legs, I'm not going to sit up here and say he's Lamar Jackson, but I'm also not going to sit up here and act like he's Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, he came to play. Also, too, the 49ers have to send some Christmas cards to the Lions receivers because they turned into first half of the season Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
They were dropping everything. I mean, I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown dropping passes, Reynolds dropping passes. Like, you know, the only person I really think that came to play for the offense was the running backs and Jameson Williams, who's the third running back, and he was the guy doing all the scoring. So you talk about you know, guys not stepping up in the moment. You can't just look at Dan Campbell. You gotta look at these receivers. These guys were dropping these passes and making it look like Jared Goff had an okay game. He actually played pretty well, which was shocking to me because that was the only reason that I didn't have Detroit doing what they did in my mind. And that's, do I really trust Jared Goff like that? He's definitely changed the way people are going to look at him now.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Goff is a dog. Goff is a dog.
See, but here's the thing. Goff is a dog, but he's no pit bull. He's no killer, and he's no lion. That's really how it is. I mean, the man's a guy. You know what I mean? He's a man of men. You know, but at the end of the day, I've never looked at Jared Goff as a guy who could finish the job. Period.
Let me ask you this.
Mm.
We know they got the Rams got Matthew Stafford and he immediately wins the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
Let's say you put Matthew Stafford as the quarterback of this Lions team. Do you think they beat the Niners?
I think they do. And I'll tell you why I think they do. Because what was the difference between that Rams team with Jared Goff in the Super Bowl and that Rams team with Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl? You had a guy that sat up here, I mean, and dominated, made Cooper Kupp a Triple Crown winner, man. Like, let's be real, Rob. Like, Cooper Kupp was not Cooper Kupp until Matthew Stafford came into the picture. Cooper Kupp was a solid receiver, but he had 500 yards in 2018 when Jared Goff was the quarterback of that team.
Yeah.
When you see what winners do, Matthew Stafford's a winner. Now, he's a winner who was stuck with a bunch of losers for a long time. And I tell kids I coach that all the time. You could be the freshest cat in the building, but if you hang around a bunch of gangbangers all day, if you hang around a bunch of crackheads all day, guess what you about to become? The fifth or sixth, which however many you guys got in your group. You have to surround yourself around winners. Jared Goff, in every situation where he's been surrounded around winners, hey, man, I don't care what anybody says. We have to keep that same energy. Quarterback is the most important position. Big-time players make big-time plays. You talking about them. Rob, if you one of them, the Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, Lamar, you lost that. I'm sorry. 10 points is crazy. But with that, you have to understand, if you are one of them, you need to go tick for tack. My brother in Christ, I'm about to get biblical on your ass. You were up 24-7. What the fuck happened?
That's crazy.
That's on you. Yeah, the defense gave up 13, 20-something points. Cool. So why you only score 10 more? You got a whole other half left. What happened? Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. Hey, Jameis Williams came out to show.
That's what I'm saying. James, he was out there playing.
Man hasn't done shit in 2 years being in the league. The man looked like it was 2020 in Alabama. He was balling. So what happened?
Yeah, rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown. That's what I'm saying.
So when you look at the bigger picture, Matthew Stafford, without a doubt, would be better with this Lions team than Jared Goff, in my personal opinion. Now, here's the problem, Rob. Would they have been able to get there with Matthew Stafford? I don't know, because the assets that they got for Matthew Stafford, the Sam Laportas, the Jahmyr Gibbs, that all played such a huge role. So this would be a completely different look, a completely different team if Matthew Stafford had never gotten traded. But I will say this, whether it was Matt or whether it was Jared, I still don't think they beat this team. This team right here is a beautifully constructed team. I mean, Rob, this is to the point. Me and you talking real talk. We talk Bears football all the time. Chase Young would start on the Chicago Bears today alongside Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
For the 49ers, Rob, he's just there on the bench chilling. They don't need him. You know what I mean? He's just a nice little carry-on. You have some of the biggest names in football: Brandon Ayuk, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. How could I not forget about Friday himself? I mean, Rob, Kyle Shanahan's the head coach. I have nothing else. Nick Bosa and company. Let's not sleep on that secondary, that linebacker core. They do their work too. Man, this team from top to bottom, I mean, flawless. There's only one thing they're missing, and I wish Robbie Gould would have still been a part of this team because, man, Robbie going to be getting a ring this year.
Yeah. Hey, I called 49ers. I've been screaming them all year. Nobody wanted to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted to listen. But the last thing I can add about Detroit is,
yeah,
we speak about the run game. You up 24/7. I'm surprised you don't, stick to that run game even more.
Right.
Like, and kill the clock. I didn't understand. That was one of the things about the play calling I didn't like. But I'm not going to sit up here and bash Coach Dan Campbell.
Of course.
Because he decided to go for it on fourth. I'm not going to do that. Teams got to execute.
It was just the 2 to 3 times that you decided to go for it on fourth.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily. When you're already up, take the points. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, in hindsight, everybody says take the points, but I think you can kind of see the momentum. You know, they get a quick score. McCaffrey probably on that second touchdown or the back-to-back touchdowns.
Right.
He probably sees the momentum, or even the face mask catch with Ayuk. Like, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. And you like, okay, let me try to get ahead of this thing, And unfortunately, the gates were already open, and the flood was starting.
Without a doubt. But man, let's transition because we're gonna do our own little thing before the Super Bowl. We're gonna have a show next week, so I don't want to do our picks quite yet. We're just gonna recap the NFC Championship games, AFC Championship games, because y'all got to come back to Mars before the Super Bowl, baby. We got a Super Bowl special coming on. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be nice. And if Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle win a ring in the same year, I might run down the street naked. You never know. But with that being said, man, we got to get into it. We got to have a legitimate conversation right here because I think it's important. Talking about the NBA All-Star game. This ain't the Pro Bowl. This has meaning. It's East versus West. It's old school NBA All-Star mentality. Rob, how excited are you? Before we announce who's a starter, who's a reserve, who may be filling in for injured Joel Embiid and others, let's get into it real quick. Are you excited for East versus West again?
Yeah, I'm excited for this format. I really am. I think with the whole captain thing, you can kind of tip a team and get leverage depending on, who's left doing the picking. And then now it's just straight. It's bragging rights again. It's my conference is better than your conference. Mm-hmm. And we have the tougher conference. And I think it's evenly, matched throughout the league. Like, you look at the forwards of the East, they can stand up to the forwards of the West. and vice versa. Who's better, Jokic or Embiid? Who has the better guards? You got Halliburton, you got Lillard, you got Brunson, you
Yep.
got Donnie Mitchell. Then you go on the West, you got Anthony Edwards, you got Shea Gilgeous, you got Steph Curry, of course. You got you got PG and Kawhi. You got some monsters everywhere, man. I am excited to see this format again, and hopefully, most of the guys are healthy. I know you mentioned about Joel Embiid.
Right.
He had that injury.
Right. We'll have to see on that what happens with the filling. But let's get into it, man. Reserves were announced yesterday. A lot of real interesting stuff. I know I was hot. I know you told me to chill out a little bit. Cool down. I'll put the fire extinguisher on me because
it's all right, Lord Jesus.
I was hot, but we're gonna be real. We're gonna start off with the starters, West and East. Starting off with the West, we got Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Say him with his full name. Say it with your chest. LeBron James and Nikola Jokic.
LeBron James.
On the Eastern side, the starters for the East. Now, presumably, this is if everybody's healthy, but we understand Joel Embiid may miss the All-Star game. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, who also might miss the All-Star game, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum. Rob, what to you is a red flag or a question mark out of these 10 guys I just named? Who was the guy for you that you looked at and said, starter?
Yeah, Damian Lillard, first of all. And I love Dame time, but if you look at what Brunson has done this year, if you look at what Donovan Mitchell has done this year, I just don't know if Dame would have been the one starting. Not to say he couldn't have made the All-Star game, because he's one of the better guards in the league, but I just like what hell, even Tyrese Maxey, like what's really going on here? That's the question.
Right, 100%. And we talked about that all season long about when they're really going to hit that mark. Obviously, they just hired Doc Rivers the other day, and immediately after the Portland Trailblazers in Portland get their lick back in Dame's homecoming, they get a win over them, which was an incredible game, by the way. I mean, to the wire. I was watching it around. It was like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30. That ended. It was a beautiful game from start to finish. I saw Bobby Portis out there giving Aiden that work. It was a beautiful thing, Bobby. But the rest of the team. On the West, you have Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Carl Sharman-Stoffed Anthony Towns. After that, pardon me, sorry, Carl Anthony Towns.
Hey,
let me stop.
That's what happened when you score 62.
We'll talk about it, though. Eastern Conference, Bam Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, well-deserved. Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, well-deserved. Donovan Mitchell and Julius Randle. Now, Julius Randle might also miss this All-Star game because I believe he's injured right now at this moment too. But with that being said, with a couple names we're going to mention, Jimmy Butler, guys like that who may fill in here and there for people. Maybe Kobe White. We'll see what happens. But with that being said, there was one guy on this list that I kind of just looked at, and I respectfully just don't see him being in the All-Star game this season. He's having a phenomenal year. Don't get it twisted. 20 plus points per game is always going to make you an elite scorer, is always going to get you paid in this league. But I believe that Jaylen Brown was the odd man out for me. I'm looking at the shooting splits. I'm looking at everything Trae Young's been able to provide for the Atlanta Hawks this season, and he's been an absolute dog. Kobe White, absolute dog for the Chicago Bulls. There's a couple guys that I could look at in this Eastern Conference that I say are having a better season than Jaylen Brown. And I want to also apologize. Jalen Brunson, you get enough flock from the Las Vegas Aces and Becky Hammond and Candace Parker. I am a Jalen Brunson supporter. I did not mean to say your name, sir. But Jaylen Brown, Rob, is the guy for me where I kind of looked at it and I was like, if you weren't on the Boston Celtics, if you were on the Charlotte Hornets, would you be an all-star right now? I think the answer is no. I look at Kobe White in the month of December shooting over 46% from three. I look at a guy like Trae Young. A lot of people might not like Trae, but the reality is this: statistically, it's there. And if Rob, here's my big thing, and I'd love your take on it because I saw a couple people on Twitter talking about how can you be in the All-Star game when you lead the league in turnovers. First of all, what you need to understand is this. If we're going to keep that same energy, do you want to know who's in the top 5 right now, Rob Scott, for leading the league in turnovers? Number 2 is the MVP right now in Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, LeBron James, Devin Booker. Oh, and who else is on that top 10 list? Jaylen Brown. Your primary facilitators and ball handlers are always going to lead the league in turnovers because they hold the ball the most. They are the ones trying to create plays. They are the ones that are averaging 10-plus assists a game. I'm looking at a Trae Young right now. I believe he's averaging, 27 points per game, almost 11 assists.
Yeah.
He looks a lot better right now than a Jaylen Brown. And maybe I'm bugging. You know me. I am a diehard Luka fan. I do not have love.
I see because you called him. I see how you slid that MVP statement right in there.
And what is he right now?
I wouldn't say MVP.
Who's MVP?
I would have to go with until Joel Embiid go past his necessary days that he has to miss to not qualify. It's Joel Embiid, dude. The dude is averaging 36 points a game, bro.
And that's fine, baby. But guess what?
He just went for like 36, like last 10 games. Like, bro,
and Rob,
I get Luka went for set, bro. Like
at the end of the day, if you don't play 65, you don't play 65.
That's what I'm saying. But he's not in jeopardy of that yet.
He's like 3 or 4 games away.
It don't matter. I'm waiting until he get there.
Me and you.
Then Luka can have his just due. But even then, that's a soft ass war. You really want to win because Joel Embiid wasn't eligible.
I'm gonna crack up an old style for you. We can get a couple Black and Miles, and we can wait the rest of the year for Joel Embiid to miss this. Because I promise you, as sure as the sun will come up, Joel Embiid is going to miss games. You know this.
Whatever, man.
You know this, but no, I do think on a serious note, I do believe Trae Young was an all-star snub. Of course, I'm not justifying him starting or him being a starter, but I just don't see it. I don't see how you could keep him out of here after the season he's had. But it looks exciting, man. It looks exciting. There's a couple guys that could potentially make it, like I mentioned earlier, the Jimmy Butlers of the world. There's a couple centers out there that we can make cases for to fill in for Joel. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Is there anything you're looking forward to, Rob? Maybe a little Steph Curry action you're excited about?
I'm looking forward to that 3-point contest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that 3-point contest with Lady Mamba, Sabrina Ionescu. I think that's going to be that's probably going to be my highlight of this All-Star weekend. Just because I know what both of them are capable of when they can both get hot. And then, of course, if you haven't been paying attention to the rules, she'll be shooting from WNBA range. And, of course, he'll be shooting from NBA range. So it makes it fair that you're shooting the furthest based on your range capacity. So
right.
I like that, man. I'm definitely excited about that. And, of course, I'm going to choose Steph, but I don't think it's going to be just an easy pushover.
Right. No.
Yes, sir.
I love that, bro. I mean, last year I bet on Mamba to win the 3-point competition. We just calling her that at this point. Sabrina Ionescu.
That's Lady Mamba, man.
I mean, I bet on her the whole way, and she won my ticket. I made a lot of money off of that.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where I've watched her game grow and evolve for the last several years in the New York Liberty organization.
Yeah.
Getting a
more
chance
than the shooter.
Yeah, I mean, she does so much for that team, and she's a huge piece to not only the WNBA but basketball as a whole. So I think this is going to be a really dope event. I'm actually going to get a chance to talk to her tomorrow with Team USA, and most definitely got to ask her about Steph.
Y'all see how my boy Mike he just slide that in there so smooth. Go get a chance to talk to her. Let me tell y'all something. My man's had the champions. You know what I'm saying? Asia Wilson, the Kelsey Plum. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Crazy. And you know what? I got a little special treat. I got a chance to talk to Jewel Lloyd. Got a chance to talk to Jewel Lloyd today. She's from the Lincolnwood area. Rob Scott knows her very well. Chicago Hooper. Got a chance to talk to her. I asked her about Justin Fields and Caleb Williams, but I'm gonna save that for later. For later. Chopping up that video.
I'm trying to get something cracking too, man. I using my connections and unexpectedly met I forgot his name, but he's the wide receiver coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. I was able to ask some questions today, and I'm trying to make some stuff happen, man.
Did you ask him what's up AJ Brown's ass?
You know what? It's just an old married couple, according to him. They'll be just fine.
Makes sense. You
know,
yeah,
I can't release too much stuff.
Of course, sir. I'm excited to listen to it. I'm excited to check it out. Rob's 2 cents is where y'all will be able to find that though. So make sure you hit that follow button.
No, it's not an official episode yet.
It's not. I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah, not an official episode yet, but
they gotta stay up.
Something happen. And I think, you know, if I get something like that's probably coming to Mars.
Oh man. You ever need, I'm there. Let's see, what's this guy talking about in the comments right now, Rob? What's this cat talking about?
What's this?
Who is this? Frankie Cruz Jr. Never heard of him. I'm about to get my tickets to Philly going to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just saw it. In case anybody don't know, I know you don't watch wrestling, Mike, but
I try. I dabble.
The Rock has come back and hinted towards going against Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is the guy. Right
Roman Swole. I know who Roman Reigns is. Roman Swole as hell.
You know, Roman is The Rock's real life cousin.
Really?
Yeah. So you know, this is going into a whole who's the real king of the bloodline type situation, and they just had a face off. But now, mind you, this is the first SmackDown after Royal Rumble.
Right.
And they just finally had a face-off in the ring. Roman Reigns, The Rock. It looks like this is going to be the match that happens. I imagine Roman Reigns is going to win this match.
Yeah. You know, I was really upset to see your boy CM Punk go down. I saw the injury.
Yeah.
Real unfortunate. That sounds sick, bro. I might have to watch that. I might have to come over and watch that with Rob Scott.
Hey, come over, man. You know I'm watching WrestleMania. I'm watching both nights of WrestleMania. I actually want to be there at a WrestleMania. Like that's one of my bucket list things. Like to go to a WrestleMania, experience the whole weekend. I'm talking about Hall of Fame. I'm talking about the whole experience before the show and actually being in this stadium where it's bigger than usual. These dudes are selling out coliseums and stadiums, you know, for a live event. So WrestleMania is a production, man. It's a whole vibe, man. And I'm definitely excited about that. You know, shout out to The Rock, who, you know, just became the I think he's like a vice president or president of the board for WWE and TKO Sports. So now he's a board member, and on top of that, he just bought back his name, The Rock. So now he owns his name now.
Most definitely.
WWE doesn't own it anymore. So shout out to The Rock, man. This is, you know, with the whole thing with what's happened to Vince McMahon, and you know, we ain't ducking no smoke. Vince out here shitting on people.
Yeah.
You know, he wild as hell. You know, he wild as hell. I'm sorry, y'all. That's what Vince out here doing. But, you know, with him taking this step back and allowing Triple H, you know, Paul Levesque to get into more of a creative role in really running the show, man, he been cooking. Storylines have been great. I haven't been this vested in wrestling in a long time. I know everybody that's wrestling right now, and I'm really watching it because it's been great. Like comparing shows and different things like that. I might start me a wrestling podcast. I think that should be a hit.
Do it, bro. Oh man, bro. Someone into that, bro. No.
That should be a hit because I really know wrestling.
Nah,
I've been
facts.
watching that shit since a kid.
But
And I
listen,
know, and don't ever say it's fake to me. It's not fake. You know who's they just know the outcome of the winner. But let me German suplex your ass, and we're gonna see how fake that shit is.
let me throw you off the top rope. See how fast that is.
Let me spear your ass with a motherfucking Braun Breaker spear. Tear through your motherfucking body. You know, I'm sorry.
Bro,
Excuse my language.
No, of course. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are saving the best for next week. We need you guys to be here. We need you guys to tune in because not only, Rob, do we have the Super Bowl coming up, we have the NBA trade deadline, and we're going to wait a few days to find out some more things that are going on. So far, all we really have going on is Terry Rozier is a Miami Heat. Things are starting to look brighter for the Miami Heat. Started off rough, losing to the Memphis Grizzlies, but they turned it around. They're looking pretty nice.
It's some speculation going around. I know at first it was about Donovan Mitchell, but now that Cleveland starting to get healthy, I imagine they at least want to get through the rest of the regular season to determine what they need going forward. But of course, Zach LaVine is on the table, and possibly DeMar DeRozan is on the table, DeJounte Murray's on the table, Kyle Kuzma's on the table. So we're talking about some guys who can go to a team and possibly be able to get that chip on their shoulder again and be able to help a team win.
Most definitely.
And be a major contribution. But as my boy Mike said, we're gonna say that for y'all. But I'm just that was just to let y'all know we do our homework and
we do
prepared.
We also have to find out the biggest factor because we haven't heard him vocally speak on it since it was announced. The Golden State Warriors will trade Draymond Green and Klay Thompson only if they get the green light from Steph Curry. That was over a week ago that was announced. And we have yet to hear anything from Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, or the Golden State Warriors since. So where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll see what continues to happen. But before we get out of here, always remember, you gotta
fight for your right to fight!